Good morning. Each day when I get up, I scroll through the news, but there's so much news that I could spend hours. I want to be informed about what's happening in our world and our community, but there's just so much. And so I have to rely on news feeds that tailor different headlines from different sources for me to be able to skim through and pick what I want to know more about. Even better are those articles that we now see. I guess newsmakers realize that there's so much that say, 5 things you need to know about the world today. I love those. And so I thought this morning what I would do is share 5 things you need to know about church this week. There's more happening in our church than I can keep up with, or any one individual can control or contain or know about. And so 5 things that are on my plate that I see that are my vision that you need to know this coming week about church. And the first is that, yay, we are making progress in our search for a director of student ministries. We are we're getting close to the final interviews for 2 candidates for a director of student ministries. Now, there are a lot of owners and a lot of stakeholders and a lot of folks invested and a lot of people interested. And of course, we want the students to have some sense of that too. And so we follow a process. And that process is designed to allow lots of people to give feedback. It also is a process designed so that we can be consistent. And consistency is important, not only so that we can compare apples to apples, but that we can be fair to the candidates, that we treat each candidate the same with clear kind of process as possible. And so we followed this process. We've been through a number of steps already with both these candidates. We're getting down now to where they will come and they will meet with parents and youth and have a time of in-person connection. And if they go well, and if there is a candidate that seems to stand out that God is leading us towards, a bit of due diligence will be done, administratively, background checks and so forth, and an offer will be made. And at that point, the candidate can decide if God is leading them to come and be with us. So we're not done, don't hear that, but we are well down the process. We're getting close to the end of the snake, as some people talk about. And I'm excited about that. That's what our many churches, I mean, almost every week I hear of another church that is looking for a director of student ministries. And so I'm very pleased that we've had some good applicants, and thankful for our staff parish relations committee, Aaron Corbelli, our HR director, and the adults and parents and youth that are involved in that process. We also have received 2 applicants for our director of children's ministry, and we have begun those conversations. We're at the beginning of the snake, but we have begun, and I'm pleased that there is progress in that area as well. Extra bonus, we have just started into our process for a director of service and outreach. And the director of service and outreach is involved in our missions outreach in our church. They'll be involved with our core ministries that we do and reaching out to the community. There'll also be a support structure for the mission trips as mission trips continue to come back online as we progress into the future, and also a resource for folks who feel led to gather folks and just do ministry, whether it's collecting diapers for families in need, or it's collecting Christmas gifts for the Christmas tree for families that could use those at Christmas. And so we're really pleased. We're making progress on that as well. That's just getting started, and look forward to updating you about that. So first headline, progress in some of our areas of ministry and some of the staff that are involved with that. Second, Pastor Craig will preach his last sermon on Sunday. Pastor Craig came to us 5 years ago. He came for 1 year as part of an intern program from the conference, paid for by the conference, and he has stayed. And along the way, he's done some very important work with our family. He's helped transition from the South Street location to Reeves. He has helped and been integral in launching the Foundry Ministry. He has been heavily involved in some of the work we did with Anua and so forth, as well as preaching and teaching and pastoral care. And so we're very grateful to Pastor Craig. He's going to be heading over to become the pastor of discipleship at University of Carolina in Oviedo, and we wish him well and we give him thanks. So come Sunday, hear his last sermon with us. There's a reception for him at noon. And so stay for that and celebrate him, give thanks to him. And, take a minute to celebrate this great ministry we have as a church family. One of the things that I really love about our family is that it helps raise up and show the ropes, so to speak, to clergy. And there are a number of effective clergy across our state who kind of grew up in ministry in this family, and I celebrate that with you. Third, our counseling ministry at the Reeves Center, named the Four Pillars Center of Counseling and Enrichment, is getting really close to opening its doors. They've just about finished the build out of the facility. The leadership team, the lay leadership team of that ministry has been talking with counselors about coming and being a counselor in that ministry. And this is going to be such an important resource for folks in our family and in our community, whether it's support during grief or support during addiction or marriage or parenting or a number of other issues. It will work very well with the different ministries that we have at Reeves. And I'm just super excited that we're getting that close. This has been a vision that we've been working on for a while, and it is really contributing to the vitality of what's going to be happening in our church and down at the Reeves Center. If you've not been down to the Reeves Center, you need to go. There's been a tremendous amount of work that's happened down there, and it's really, really exciting. Now, this Sunday from 2 to 4, there's an open house at the Four Pillars Center at the Reeves building there. And so you are invited. Please stop by, and our leadership team will be there to show you around. So third headline, Four Pillars Counseling Center, close to opening. Fourth, our 2022 budget is being built. Woo! I know that's super exciting. You may be thinking at this point that Pastor David had bad mushrooms on his pizza last night. Actually, the budget is a really critical process for our church family. Basically, the budget is a conversation and a process of setting priorities for ministry. And this is going to be very, very important in the coming year. We are currently about through the first 8 months of the year at about the same income level as a church as we were in 2020. And I celebrate that, 18 months into this pandemic, still going, and the pandemic is still going. As a parent, I receive notices every day about my child's school and different cases of COVID, and particularly if you have children that are younger and haven't been vaccinated, or you have pre-existing health conditions, the COVID is still very much with us, and there are still people getting infected who have been vaccinated. So we're not out of the woods, and that has affected participation, and that has affected resourcing for the church. And so we're about where we were last year in terms of income. The challenge is, so thanks for that. The challenge is that fixed costs continue to go up, right? At home, groceries cost more, utilities cost more, water costs more. Same at the church. Fixed costs continue to go up, which means that we have to be very clear about what we're going to do and not do in the coming year. And so the budgeting process allows this kind of conversation and setting up priorities. In fact, if the budget process is done well, then it alleviates a lot of angst for the coming year. There's a lot of these conversations about, do I have authority or can I do this, gets eliminated because it's already been discussed and prioritized. It really simply becomes a matter of resourcing. In fact, so much of what we talk about at church is not about approval. It's about how do we share resources. There was a season in our family, we had 4 drivers at home and 2 cars. And so we had to, kind of work on how we allocated those resources. I couldn't come out in the morning and find both cars gone and still get to work. And so a lot of family conversation becomes about resources. Same with the church family. It's not about approval. It's about how do we share those resources and share them around our priorities. And so that's what the budget process is about. And ultimately, it's about, does this ministry, does this outreach, does this program help us make disciples for Jesus Christ? That's the question we're trying to ask this fall for next year. I'm excited about that because that's the right question. Does it help us fulfill our mission to make disciples for Jesus Christ? And how do we prioritize around that? So the budget process is underway. So super excited. You'll be hearing more about that next month. Finally, don't forget the worship Zoom call on Wednesday evening with Ben Howell, our chair of our leadership council. We're talking about our Sunday morning schedule. This has been an issue that has stymied our church for over a decade. We have not optimally arranged our Sunday morning schedule, and all that time we've tried different things, and we need to make a movement. This is the season to set the path. And so we want to hear from folks. We've sent out a survey monkey, or we're surveying monkeys, however you want to say it. And we are asking for your feedback on when you prefer to go to worship and so forth. You have children. Do the children participate in Sunday school? How do we fit? How do we prioritize when to do services? Which services should happen when? How does Sunday school fit in? How do small groups happen? What happens beyond Sunday that should happen on Sunday? So lots of questions, and we want your participation in that. So please make note of that. So progress in the Director of Student Ministries, Pastor Craig sending him off, the Four Pillars Counseling Center, the budget's being built, and our Zoom call about our Sunday morning schedule. This is just the tops of the tulips, but now you know. All right, look forward to seeing you in church on Sunday. God bless.